Are you ready? What's my name? What's my name? Say Kareem Ali. Say Kareem Ali. You're listening to
Are you serious?
the Hip Hop Debate Show.
Okay, so hear me out.
The official podcast of Kareem Ali. In about 2 seconds, Kareem Ali will begin to speak. Kareem Ali TV. You're watching the Are You Serious podcast, where we discuss various topics through the lens of hip hop culture. Today we got the co-host Slick Vic Low, Slangston Hughes, and all the other shit you want to call yourself that you don't know. We got my man Rod the Blitz, who the Blizz. I always call him the Blitz, like he about to like we don't give a fuck. It's fourth and 7. We're blitzing. I fuck it up every time. I mean, if I didn't see it written right there, I still fucked it up. Skills back up. Daryl Hurst. What the? You don't want to change it?
Oh no, let me change that shit, go.
Yeah, I'm saying.
We get famous, so people gonna call you Daryl Hurst, aka Skills Mega.
Let me change that shit, bro.
I think his name is Daryl. I fucking.
What's happening, yo?
And then we got my man Savon Johnson. I be wanting to call him Seven sometimes. We fucking that up too. Writer, Baltimore hip hop enthusiast. Used to write for the Speaker Box magazine, several other magazines.
Yeah, Speaker Box, Expressions, Live and Direct. Yeah, we had a few going out there for a minute.
We have a real media person here. Now, we have to have this conversation. It's too late to really be talking about the Super Bowl performance per se, but I wanted to get y'all thoughts on what it meant as far as Kendrick Lamar making that stand. Was this a good performance? Was this a good move? Was it something? Was it trash to you? Let's go with Savon. What do you think about the performance?
I think that it was right on point. You know what I'm saying? I think that it had the complexity that people wanted. I think that anybody who didn't like it was probably used to a whole bunch of bombast and cooning, where I think that his performance had a depth to it that we got. If you didn't like it, it's probably because you didn't know the songs, to be completely honest with you. And I think there was a lot of really strong symbolism in it that, you know, it really kind of encompassed what he was all about in that moment. And I dig it a lot, especially how he really consolidated the West Coast like that. Like, they really stand behind and that's a lot. We haven't had an East Coast artist like that be able to do that for a minute since like Biggie.
Okay. Rod, what did you feel about this attempt?
Well, it made Shea Whitey mad, so I was about that.
Okay.
It definitely made sense all across the board, even from a business standpoint. When the NFL can just pretty much just front you $15 million for a night, to use
to criticize, yeah, definitely.
To criticize, Agent Orange.
Okay,
it's all good.
Okay,
you know what I'm saying? And
I'll say something about it. I think anytime, in about 2 seconds, Kareem Ali will begin to speak. Listen, anytime that you have an opportunity to speak about something that's important culturally, I think it's a good move, especially in terms of the NFL, who we didn't forget the Colin Kaepernick situation. We didn't forget that you were a racist white boy league. We didn't forget that. If for Kendrick Lamar to go out there and make these statements in front of at least the entire nation on the NFL stage, I thought it was ballsy and it was gutsy. The only problem I had with it, I think Kendrick Lamar is a great live performer. I wasn't as entertained as I thought I would be, because I just feel like he left a lot of hits on the table.
Yeah,
it's about like 6 or 8 songs. Like, what happened to We Gonna Be All Right? What happened to swimming pools? What happened to fucking
I can tell you about that.
Definitely.
I heard. I think I know where you're going with that, but that in the moment, that's what I felt. Backstreet Freestyle. Where was the fucking I'm not myself? What the fuck? I mean, goddamn. So
there wasn't any real levity to it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There wasn't a time where it was partying. He went there to make that statement, basically.
Yeah, I mean, the statement was great, but I wasn't as entertained because I felt like if you have that opportunity to do what you did to make these statements in front of the world stage, I mean, also you have to entertain them too. It's entertainment and, you know what I'm saying, education. Both
Yeah,
of them.
definitely.
Slick Vic, what do you have to say about this?
So I think this entire moment that we've had where this Kendrick explosion has happened, from the very orchestrated and calculated way he approached the Drake battle and how that segued into his new record, and this whole Super Bowl thing is a really quality moment for the culture. And we look at Kendrick, he's always made conscious decisions about making conscious decisions with his art. Um, from the work he did on the Damn album, the one Upholsterer, to songs like "We Gonna Be All Right," where he's making statements about police brutality and how he orchestrated those performances and those award shows where he performed that music. He's always been intentional about, like, this is not just art, this is also edutainment. Even KRS-One recently pointed out, like, Kendrick is continuing in that same legacy as, like, Boogie Down Productions and himself in holding up edutainment and not just entertainment, that hip hop is supposed to be about something more for the people because it comes from the people. So
Right.
the Super Bowl performance was like an extreme on a huge stage, a huge platform version of that. I'm almost surprised he got away with it the way that he did. Even with DJ Fatademics leaking the set list ahead of time, but he didn't know about the Samuel L. Jackson part, and he didn't know about the Serena part. So those still remain surprises. And in many ways, what he did was a modern day version of when Jimi Hendrix played the Star Spangled Banner on his guitar in a way that was very anti-America, very anti-establishment, like, this guitar is a phallic symbol in your face, America. It was like a modern day version of that because, he had the dances and the flag set up and all of that. But he was making, even Uncle Sam there, but he was making very intentional statements about, from an alternative standpoint and from a rebellious and revolutionary standpoint, which is so rare. But also we're entering an era where it's not super rare. And then the other thing that I'll say, to the business standpoint, some people may or may not know that since he was out of his Top Dog Entertainment deal, a lot of those songs that were published, that the rights are still published under Top Dog, when those songs are played or performed publicly, Top Dog still gets the large share of the residuals from that, and Kendrick does not. So he intentionally did a set where none of those songs were included, and somehow managed to still make it entertaining enough, but also make his statement, which is the larger goal. But so a lot of those songs you mentioned are songs that if he was to perform those, a large chunk of money would have went to his former label, and he still found a way to be like, nah, you're not going to keep eating off of me with this big opportunity. Just because I have it don't mean that you get to eat off of those songs that I don't get the large share of the money.
I'd have had to perform them anyway. You can't take the best shit. Imagine going to see Nas and he don't do that melody of Illmatic he always did.
Mm-hmm. I feel you, but the fact that he was able to figure out a way to still make the statements he wanted to, and then still not have to divvy up the funds to them, it's pretty savvy.
I think it could have been a little more impactful. Yeah, I agree with you. I can't say that you're wrong, but just as a fan, I just think I would have been more entertained if I couldn't imagine going to see. I can't use Michael Jackson because every fucking album was hits and shit, so it wouldn't matter if he just do one. But just imagine and shit. You go see your favorite person. It's about 5 or 6 songs. Shit, I went to see. Who did I go see? Was it Mos Def? And he had the nerve to not play Miss Fat Booty.
Yeah,
and it's hard to fit. You can only fit so much into that 12 minutes, and he squeezed a lot in as he was.
Play a hook.
I was curious about. I was curious whether it We Gonna Be All Right was going to happen or not, though, because he just did it at the Super Bowl like 2 years ago when the Dr. Dre set.
Do it again. Skills Becker, what did you think about this moment?
First and foremost, I want to preface this by saying I appreciate Kendrick Lamar. I appreciate his message. I appreciate what he's done as an MC and the fact that he used that opportunity to really say something. But I also want to stress the importance that you can do both, yo, and you should do both. You should be able to, like you said earlier, educate and entertain. I thought that it didn't have a lot of energy in the actual performance, but as performers, we know that it's like he was moving around quite a bit. You get what I'm saying? So I feel like that played a part. I thought that the message was very strong, but I thought that it also it just wasn't very entertaining to me. And I agree, like even though his former label would have got most of um I guess the performance rights revenue, I think that he still shouldn't have robbed the viewers of seeing a better performance, in my opinion. I think that, and I get that he dropped a new album, so he wanted to do that. I think it was too much teasing of doing They Not Like Us. Like he clearly had to do it. That was the song of the year. Like, and I'm glad that he did it. You feel me? But I just think that like the game itself was already um lackluster. You feel me? Like it was a terrible Super Bowl. That was one of the worst Super Bowls I've seen as far as from the play. You feel me? So it's like the game is already boring. The Chiefs aren't doing anything. The Eagles are blowing them out. And then we get to the performance, and it's like we already know what songs he's going to do. Like it was a nice touch that Samuel L. Jackson was involved, and then Serena and everything else. And like, I appreciate the message, you feel me? But it's like, what if I paid to see Brand Nubian and they don't do Punch 'Em Up to Get Beat Down? Like, you feel me? Like, it's crazy, yo. He could have did Money Trees. I wouldn't have did All Right twice. He already did All Right the first time he performed. You feel me? But he has a lot of hits. Like, I think it would have been great if he would have had like a Black Hippie reunion. If he would have invited Absol and Schoolboy and them,
Yeah,
and then
I
like,
mean, he
all right,
did that at the Pop Out and Show Niggas joint though.
no, I feel you, but this is a way bigger platform. You feel me? And that's dope. Like he had them, but did they perform as Black Hippie?
Did
Did
it
they
Yeah,
add?
do a song all together?
Did it
Or
yeah,
did
add
they
they
to
just
did
it?
let
whole
them come up
sets.
one by one?
Did it add to it that
No,
SZA
did they
had
do
chunky?
a
Did it add to it that SZA had chunky booty cheeks? No.
Oh man,
Definitely.
man, let me tell you.
BBL Drizzy.
I
Not
have
to
a quick
yo,
mention
question. I have a
Serena, you
quick
know what I mean?
question
Like,
though.
whew.
So, Savon, go ahead.
I have a quick question. So, now I really enjoyed the performance, but do you think that it was too dense for the public at large, and it got lost in the message that he was trying to put
I mean,
out?
if it was, everybody and their grandmother did a breakdown on the internet the next day to explain everything. So,
I think it was for certain groups of people for sure.
yeah.
There
and
was
my
certain
thing,
Again,
there
we
was certainly
got it.
you
Caucasian folks
know,
that was like, what the fuck is what are
I mean,
these
the dumb,
niggers?
deaf,
You
and blind are always going to be left
know
behind.
what
So,
I'm
I
saying?
mean, sometimes
Does
it's
anybody
time.
disagree with Skills Mega Rod, Savon?
I don't
Yeah, I mean,
disagree.
I don't. To me, I mean, I'm me. So if you're gonna get real intellectual in the Super Bowl halftime show, I'm gonna enjoy it. But I mean, I thought it still had its entertaining moments that, as much as it needed to. Because SZA, it was, I thought a lot of the energy and the party aspects of it was
I wasn't
that
expecting
energy.
Serena to show up. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I think a lot of that, a lot of the more entertaining energy that was needed was there, but it was carried by the overall production and the dancers. The dance
Yeah,
choreography was extraordinary. Like even like the way he moved around in unison with them, like had a certain high energy to it. Because you're on a giant football field. Unless you're Michael Jackson, ain't but so much you're gonna do from a movement standpoint.
Let me ask you this: do you think that a hip hop artist show is conducive to really dominating a Super Bowl performance like that, as compared to like a Prince or Beyonce,
Certainly
Michael
not in
Jackson?
comparison, but if you're gonna do it, I think the way to do it is very similar to what he did. It's only one or two ways to do a Super Bowl performance as a halftime act. I mean, as a hip hop act. One, what he did was you bring so much else to the production with dancing, with choreography, with all of the other layers that was going on. Or you do what Dre did and you have a big cipher and you bring out multiple people that's that's going to get people excited. To do it mostly by yourself with just one other person on the mic with you, that's a big feat to pull off, and you kind of
yeah,
have to bring the
definitely.
full production to it with the dancing and the explosions and the cinematography and the theatrics. Like you need those other elements for something that big. It's not like you're just doing a hip hop performance and you can be just you and the mic and the DJ. It's a different kind of platform.
What do you guys think that about the impact of culturally of what he did, and what does it raise his status in the lexicon of all time greats? Does it elevate Kendrick? Does it demote Drake with probably the greatest ass whooping we've ever seen?
I mean, Drake is been out of the conversation for a while because
sure, he still sell records though. This is the closest
not even that's not going so well.
This is the closest anybody's careers came close to being ended since Ja Rule. So
yeah, it's right along. It's right on.
What do y'all think about that, Savon? What do you feel? What do you think Kendrick ranks in?
Well, I mean, I think it immediately elevates him because very few people have done what he's done. So now, I'm not a huge Kendrick fan. Like, I know everything about his discography,
right?
But I know that he is capturing this moment as quality as he can capture this moment. So I think it elevates him to a certain extent, especially amongst younger people. But he's breaking my top 20. I'm still not going to say that he's this to me yet.
Right.
But I think in terms of especially this new generation, I'm old now, but this new generation, he's the baddest man in the world, and I can't be mad at it.
I mean, he might crack my top 25, mate, when I encompass everything he's done from a career standpoint. Rod, what do you feel? Before you go back.
He's definitely elevated himself as one of the greats of this era.
Okay.
Given the accomplishments, you know what I mean? It's not just the Super Bowl performance, but this man is a Pulitzer Prize winner. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
people really just lose sight of that. So really what it is that pardon me.
It's all good.
So really what it is that I think there was some room there in the performance. I think one thing, regardless of what it would be, like I think he just had that one chance to have that Tommy Smith and John Carlos moment. You know what I mean? At the '68 Olympics with the, with the performance, and he didn't quite get that, but he made a pointed enough statement for people to really, to really get it, or at least a lot of people will really get it. You know what I'm saying? The MAGA folks, you know what I'm saying? The Saltines, they really mad, and I enjoyed that. But,
He's one of those be pissed off.
But I think we give it a few more years and a few more big, you know what I'm saying? A few more big moves. Like he may crack into the top 10. He may.
Skills.
Only time could tell.
Skills. What's your take in terms of his impact and how he's elevated himself, his legacy?
I think that for many people in my generation, he is in the top 10. I don't know what else he can do. Like, he's like the Pulitzer Prize. You feel me? That is a very high honor. He has a lot of classic albums. We can debate on what a lot is, you feel me? But
at least two.
He has many classic albums, at least two.
More than one. So
Two in a possible, Bad Space, and you feel me? But with that being said, like, he has set a bar of excellence and he's kept it up there. Like, it's for the longest time, it's been him and Cole for a lot of people. So, and then like him defecating on Drake like this, but I think it was well deserved. You feel me? Like, Drake is lucky he didn't do Meet the Grams. I'm petty. I'd have did part of Meet the Grams at the Super Bowl. You feel me? But that's just me. I'm very sure that he's going to do that when he performs in Toronto, because that's on him and Sylvia's album.
It's crazy. He did Euphoria.
One or two dates.
He did. He did a little part of Euphoria. He did.
Right.
Yeah.
Slick Vic.
Oh man.
I think what's really unique about what Drake has done in this moment is that he's done something that in this era of hip hop only.
You think it's unique what Drake has done at this moment?
Yeah, what Kendrick has done in this moment is something unique that only in this era you could say that only Eminem has been able to be artistically and lyrically very strong and go and break into pop realm at the same time. And we all know that that's largely because of Eminem's lack of complexion, that he's able to go break through into the pop realm while still being a high level lyrical MC. Kendrick managed to do that as a melanated MC in this moment, which is very unique and rare, that he's been able to be artistically on point, lyrically excellent, but also have 3 albums in the top 10 simultaneously. That's never happened before. And so in that aspect of his legacy is very unique, that no one's done that. And I think that this current acceleration of what has happened from the Drake conflict through the Super Bowl, dropping the album, it at least puts him in the conversation of the top 20, where for me, he wasn't quite there yet. I think that he's probably somewhere between. It's hard for me to say top 10 just now because the top 10 is a very sacred realm. And when you talk about, yes, he's the best in this, one of the best in this era of mainstream rap, but being the best in this mainstream era of rap is akin to being flat earth, in that there's a firmament, there's a dome over top of that potential, because being the best in this era of mainstream rap is a very low ceiling. I always go back to, if you put the best of this era against the top 17 of the 90s era, they're not even getting in that discussion with those 17. So it's a little different, but what Kendrick remains and has been is he's at least the base level of how good you're supposed to be. If you consider yourself a top tier MC, you better be at least that good. And at least he's upholding that standard in a way that the rest of the mainstream is able to see that it's visible, that level of rapping is still current in hip hop, in the mainstream, that is.
Exactly. And I think that he's really just become the man of the moment. When you think about, how we talk about all these mumble rappers and these people without any kind of real topics, or making, music that we consider trash. Like he's almost like a Mozart to people listening in our ears, you know what I mean?
And he makes it harder for them to exist as easily as they used to.
Right.
There are more young children. The best thing about it all is there are more young children coming into listening to hip hop and hearing that there is a standard, where for some time it didn't matter what the standard was.
Right.
Okay, I think that's all we need. I mean, I don't have anything else about Kendrick Lamar. I think he probably is in my top 25 for what he's done in terms of his accomplishments. I mean, his greatness is unquestioned at this point. I like Kendrick a lot, but I don't necessarily enjoy always listening to him. Something about his voice that throws me off.
Same here.
But other than that, I mean, it's a lot of stuff, a lot of the choices he made, and the willingness and the desire to go and make statements, I really, really appreciate and respect. Because it's definitely something that's hard to do. You can really almost destroy your career like that. You can lose a lot of your fan base, because people seem to be turned off by anyone trying to elevate the consciousness of the people, and I'll never understand.
Yeah, I think we got to thank the late great Tupac a lot for that, because his influence is clearly strong on him, and Tupac was that way too, that he was willing to put the consciousness in his music. And hopefully there's some young kids now listening to Kendrick that'll carry that torch forward in the future.
I mean, and now you got Cole. Cole has stepped aside of it, but he's just been making magical work himself for about a decade, for real. And he has his fan base aside from a Kendrick. So at least you're seeing multi representatives of people who are getting back to real lyricism and real conscious thought in the music that they're making.
I'll let that be the last thought. You got one question? You got a couple minutes.
I have a question, y'all. You feel me? Like,
here we go.
Being an MC, you already know what I'm about to say. So basically, J. Cole is definitely a needed voice, but J. Cole took a lot of the sting and a lot of when he bowed out and he basically apologized for defending himself. I feel like he broke a rule as an MC, you feel me? And it made a lot of people not want to hear anything else from him, you feel me? Like, I heard the last joint that he dropped, the single, it was dope, but it's like, I'm not trying to hear how dope you are. And then when it was time for you to fight with that mic, you bowed out like that.
Did anyone hear about Freddie Gibbs coming at J. Cole dissing him?
Yeah, and I agree with what he said.
Yeah.
He was saying the same thing Skills just said right now. Like, are you gonna, rap about how, how you kill people on the mic or whatever, but you apologize if somebody really just attacked you. Like, it just doesn't make any sense.
And then you got to look at J. Cole's, not to cut your wisdom.
It's all good.
You feel me? But you got to look at J. Cole's track record. You didn't bow out when it was time for you to battle Diggy Simmons. You didn't bow out when you had all these other like minuscule battles, but when it's time to battle a nigga that's on your tail, you pushed up. We not trying to hear that shit.
This is another show. Let me.
It's like Eminem taking on Christina Aguilera, but then being afraid to battle Everlast. Or
being mad at Nick Cannon. Yeah.
This is another show. We don't know.
Skills. I'm gonna answer your question. I'm gonna answer your question with a bit of a coded message, right? And it's part the answer to your question, but it's also, as you'll notice, an internal message, a Morse code, if you will, from me to you.
Okay.
I don't talk about battling. I actually do it.
Okay.
That's the Skills Mega quote. So yeah,
I said that. Yep.
Right, you said that.
All right, guys, that's all the time we have. Kareem Ali TV. Are you serious?
Very serious.
God damn it, Slangston. You just you're fucking slow.
That's what you course I am.
So I have to stand here today as what I was when I was born, a black man.
Your racism bounces off me, I'm bulletproof. Your prejudice gets deflected, I'm bulletproof. Your hatred can't penetrate me, I'm bulletproof. Our minds can't be shackled no more, nah, we know the truth. Yeah, from the spot that Malcolm stood, looking out through the window, I'm looking out over my hood, and all I see is the shit show run by a bunch of